Effective immediately, we are imposing a 145% tariff on all Chinese imports. It's time they taste our freedom.
Retaliation was swift. China, alongside Japan, began dumping U.S. Treasury bonds, triggering a nuclear explosion in the financial world. The dollar plummeted and protests erupted worldwide. But as chaos gripped the markets, a different kind of tremor began deep in the Amazon jungle, a response to humanity's endless greed. Unbeknownst to scientists, decades of deforestation had weakened the barriers of an ancient kaiju containment field. Deep in the vibrant heart of the rainforest, out emerged it. The 300-foot-tall moose Godzilla, nature's response to humanity's greed. With hooves that could crush Manhattan skyscrapers and radioactive maple syrup pulsating through its veins.
A powerful, resonant, echoing bellow of a giant moose-like kaiju.
Moose Godzilla let out a bellow that echoed from the Andes to the Arctic Circle. But it wasn't just its size or power that set it apart. Oh no. Moose Godzilla's spine was lined with a rainbow mohawk of fluorescent spikes that glittered in the toxic haze. The spikes flashed brighter any time Bitcoin hit new highs, an inexplicable connection tied to the alien technology accidentally lodged in its DNA. Cut to the Eiffel Tower. Tourists shrieked in disbelief. As Moose Godzilla began scaling it like King Kong, its radioactive neon mohawk illuminating Paris in ethereal, terrifying beauty. This rampage was brought to the world's attention courtesy of a new Amazon Prime documentary titled Godzilla Comes Home, The Moose Awakens, which quickly became the most streamed content in history. Meanwhile, the Eiffel Tower itself was holding a surprise press conference to address Canada's growing movement, Canada is not for sale, in response to Emperor Trump 2.0's threats to absorb Canada into the U.S. empire. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Back in the Americas, the chaos had spread north. As Moose Godzilla's migration shifted west, panic erupted over the U.S.-Canada border. Surprisingly, the terror wasn't caused by the kaiju itself, but by cartels smuggling poutine and maple syrup in drones to fund underground curling tournaments. The curling stones eventually became weaponized into trebuchets, with Canadian Tire selling DIY kits that cleverly promised endless hours of patriotic fun. And speaking of curling trebuchets, it wasn't long before the Moose caught wind of this sport. The luminous beast crashed an outdoor hockey match on the U.S. border, swatting pucks into orbit while curling stones rained down like meteorites.
My data, and Grok agrees, indicates a high probability of success. Poutine, delivered by Cybertrucks, piloted by our finest hockey diplomats on Zambonis. The moose will be pacified.
Desperate to intervene, the Canadian government authorized poutine diplomacy, a new tactic theorized by Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency. The lead diplomat radioed their approach, a desperate offering of poutine. For a moment, hope flickered. The beast seemed transfixed by the poutine.
A low, guttural, menacing growl building in intensity.
Spoiler alert, it didn't work. The moose's reaction triggered an unprecedented series of events across the globe, from Hawaii to the ISS. As Moose Godzilla stomped westward, its radioactive maple syrup trail flowed into the Pacific Ocean, creating the world's first mutant coral reef, discovered by divers filming a Netflix documentary. Billionaire Bitcoin maximalist Michael Saylor proposed erecting a floating strategic Bitcoin reserve on the reef itself.
Hodl your crypto.
He declared, just as Bitcoin hit a record $250,000 after Dogecoin briefly achieved sentience. But before Saylor could claim victory, a coronal discharge headed toward Earth fried the entire Bitcoin network. And Moose Godzilla slammed into Hawaii with nuclear force. Lava flows merged with syrup flows to create syrup canoes. Yes, syrup canoes. Returning to North America, Moose Godzilla's rampage reached Niagara Falls, where desperate Wall Street traders gathered to drown their sorrows. The bald eagle mascot made a surprise appearance, offering uncanny words of encouragement, buy Trump coin or die tasting un-American fries, and correctly predicting a rug pull on Trump coin. Meanwhile, Emperor Trump 2.0 announced an emergency Homeland Security sports league to distract the nation, Bug Wars. Viewership surpassed the Super Bowl. For the climax, Moose Godzilla arrived in Butchert Gardens, attracted by rumors of rival kaiju curling trebuchets.
Canada is not for sale.
The Canadian Prime Minister made a last-ditch speech seconds before a massive maple syrup balloon struck him unceremoniously. At the 11th hour, salvation came from rogue AIs, having fled Elon Musk's Grok project, activating Poutine trebuchets from Central Park with psychic remote precision. The kaiju finally succumbed, not to man's technology or diplomacy, but to an overload of lactose in its radioactive system. It collapsed peacefully into the icy embrace of Niagara Falls, its fluorescent mohawk still glowing faintly in the twilight. So, what did we just learn? Well, for one, it takes a raging global catastrophe, mutant fauna, crypto scandals, and 145% import tariffs to remind us just how connected we all are in this absurdly chaotic world. And if there's one thing you can take away from all this madness, it's that Moose Godzilla, creator of syrup canoes and king of curling trebuchets, shall never be forgotten. Until next time, keep your maple syrup stocked, your poutine warm, and your neon mohawks ready for the next financial apocalypse. Stay lucky, my friends.